That was really cool. And actually, it's quite interesting as well because we all here, like most of you, paid to go to a conference, and then you get to see information that could be boring, potentially, but you made it not boring, which is really good. You get the attention of the people, and that's something that not everybody can do, especially on a topic like that. And I want to bet you, actually, that maybe in, I don't know, 5, 6 years, you don't have to pay for a conference anymore, but you get paid to go to a conference. Be nice, right? You know why? Because actually, attention is a currency. We have a problem right now that we don't get to keep people's attention long enough. And that is an issue for many marketers, for many businesses, because we want to tell everybody that our product is the best product out there, and we want to do everything that we can to keep that attention. Now, a lot of businesses then think, you know what, I've heard about storytelling. That'll do the job. We'll go storytelling. The problem there is that most businesses actually don't really know what storytelling is, and they just start telling a story about how great they are. And they think that's storytelling. It's not. They don't understand what it is, and yet it's an extremely powerful tool. Because think about it, storytelling it's been with us forever, both in like centuries and in our own lives. We were raised with stories. Whenever we hear the sentence "once upon a time," we go like, oh, we get a story, nice, and we pay attention. So that sticks with us. We still know the stories from when we were young. The right stories stick. And the right stories, when it comes to businesses, actually build trust as well. It makes us feel more close to the businesses. And you know what? The great thing about stories, they actually affect the mind. They actually can make us change our minds. The right story can change people's minds. That's because people believe stories. We believe what's being told to us in a story. We believe we can fly. We believe Santa can fly if we hear it from our parents. Funny enough, if the story was right, we still would think the earth was flat. But it wasn't. People don't check stories. They don't check whether or not it's true, what's being said in a story. They just believe it. So that means we need to look at storytelling and in a way that will affect people's minds. I'm going to give you 3 little steps to create a perfect story, a story that actually affects people's minds. And I'm going to run through these 3 in the next 20 minutes or so. Everything always starts with a good preparation. There's nothing in life you can do without a good preparation, whether it's cooking or whether it's something else. You have to understand that when you are preparing, it's not just thinking about what is the story that I'm going to tell, but you have to start thinking about your audience. You have to start thinking about your culture and the culture of your audience. And this is where this morning you saw a slide that I'm going to use again with Omi, because it just says everything. You want to be relevant. You don't want to be that person telling a story about stuff that your audience is not interested in at all. Because they'll lose that attention really quickly. So you want to create a story that actually fits your audience. To do that, you need to put yourselves into the shoes of your audience. You need to understand how they feel and what makes them tick. And you want to make sure that the shoe fits as well. So you need to do your research. You need to really dive into your audience and start asking them questions. Start doing research online and start doing research on, for example, social media. What is it that makes them tick? I do that all the time. What I do most on social media is not sharing, but it's doing research. It's understanding what it is that they're talking about. And there's tons of sites out there that can help you, like Answer the Public and Quora.com. They're all websites that show you what questions people have. You put in your keyword and you get results back showing what your audience wants. And you have to take that effort, you have to make that effort to actually understand your audience. What's highly important with that is that you don't just stop there. You don't just wait and think, okay, this is all the information I have now I can create a story. No, you have to think about the next step. You have to think about the outcome. You have to think about the process as well. Because many people think, oh, they have that question, that means they have that problem. But actually, that's not the problem that they're actually after. The solution, in the end, might not be what people want to hear. And especially when it comes to stories, you want to take them on a journey. You want to take them on a journey to the end result. So when you're eating, it doesn't mean that the end goal is pooping. The same goes for stories, and the same goes for your research. What you see there might not be what they actually want. So properly do your research. People only get convinced when they think that something can actually happen. So there has to be some truth in the story. There has to be something that they can recognize. There has to be something they understand. If they feel like this is never going to happen, it won't stick. So that's what you have to do. See where you match your audience and see where you can understand how they feel and how you can actually come together. I was actually doing some research, and I talked to the guys from Deep Crawl before the conference a couple of times. And I went on their website, and I went to the About page. And interestingly enough, they did something which is actually the beginning of great storytelling, because they started off their About page with this specific sentence. Deep Crawl was born when two of the founders were working on a site redevelopment for a large property website. Boom. That's your audience. This is Deep Crawl's audience. They want to address the people that work on those large sites. So within the first sentences, they make that connection. If they don't make the connection and just say, hey, we're Deep Crawl, we're a bunch of great people, and we make a great tool, people go like, yeah, that's what everybody says. But they started off with that connection, and that makes a start of a great story. Now, structure is hugely important within the story. Let me give you a little example. There's a mushroom that walks into a bar. And he goes up to a girl and says, do you want to dance? And the girl goes, ew, no, gross, you're a mushroom. And he tries another girl, and another girl, and another girl. And all the girls go, nah, gross, gross. And the mushroom just looks a bit confused, goes to the bar, sits down at the bartender and says, I don't know what happened there. Why won't they dance with me? I'm a fun guy. Now let me tell you the story again. A fun guy walks into a bar. And then he goes up to this lady and he says, do you want to dance? And he says, no. Oh, wait. That's the wrong order. Okay, let me try again. So this mushroom, which is goes into a bar with only humans, and they don't really they don't dance with mushrooms. So they look at the mushroom and go, "Ooh, that's a mushroom." No, it doesn't work. That's the structure. It's a simple, maybe even lame joke, but without the structure, the entire joke falls apart. And that's the same with a story. If your structure isn't right, your entire story falls apart. It's like a building that has a good structure that will stay up. A bad structure in a building will make your building collapse. And the same goes for the stories. Now, this might sound extremely simple, and it is, because the structure is only 4 words. Situation, obstacle, approach, plan. That's the structure of your story. And does somebody here recognize what word this makes? Soap, yes. If you look at any soap opera on television, they all have the same structure. Any movie, any book has the same structure. They all start with pointing out the situation, then bringing in an obstacle, Then they go and change the approach, and then with the plan, and that's the end of the story. You could put it in 3 acts, actually. So let's look at those acts. First act is situation. In this act, you set the stage of the story. You want to introduce the people in the story, and especially your hero, who's going to be the hero of the story. And you want to make sure that everybody knows what the primary issues are, and you want to get people comfortable. You don't want to throw in the problem too quickly, but you want to make sure that people will have a good feeling with your hero. In the second act, that's where you're going to start with the obstacle. You're going to create an incident, a problem. So in this case, when you're talking about businesses that have to tell stories about their products, you want to make sure that you understand what the problems are of your target audience. And you want to mirror that into the story. You want them to see that, wait a minute, that's the same problem that I have. And you want to build it out. You want to make it bigger than it actually is. And give your hero a series of challenges. This is where the pooping part comes in. This is a growth opportunity. What you want people to feel is that your hero goes through a growth. Your hero doesn't already have all the powers, doesn't already know what to do with all his powers. Look at any movie like Spider-Man or a superhero movie. The superhero in the beginning doesn't know about his powers. That goes slowly, and slowly they get more powers and they go towards the solution. The obstacle is crucial. Don't leave out an obstacle. You can say your product is the greatest product out there, and it even might be the greatest product out there, but if people don't see a problem, if they don't see something as bad, they're never going to see that solution because they don't feel they need a solution. So you want to make sure that you emphasize the problem a lot, the obstacle. In Act 3 is where you start going towards the solution, the approach and the plan. So you want to explain how you are, your hero is making the problem go away. So you show that solution, but you especially show the road to that solution. You make to people like, oh, the hero fixed the problem, and they overcame some issues as well at the same time. And we're all in a better place now. Those are the 3 acts you have to keep in mind when you're writing a great story. And I want to highlight one part of this, which is the hero. Because the biggest mistake I see when businesses start writing about their own business and start doing storytelling is that they create the hero as being them. So they are the hero. But you have to keep in mind that a hero can have many shapes. It can be a person, but it can also be something inside a person. Now, I'm a vivid tennis player. I play a lot of tennis. But when I'm playing tennis, I'm actually mostly not playing my opponent. Well, I am physically, but most of the time, I'm actually playing against myself. Because I'm struggling trying to concentrate. I'm struggling trying to get the ball in the right place. And yeah, I happen to have an opponent as well. That's my struggle. Now, Nike did the research and understood that the struggle and the hero might be somewhere else. So they created an ad actually back already in the 1980s, and I'm going to show you the ad, which is a great example of storytelling and understanding your audience and bringing it together. Let's show you. Maybe you've seen it, actually. It's been on TV here as well.
Okay, we're done. Let's take a breather. Gotta keep going. What? It's not the deal. I think we can go on. Since when did you start thinking? Whatever. So who exactly are you trying to impress? Because you're sure not impressing me. Save your breath. We're gonna need it. Save your breath. You can't see yourself. You look disgusting. This isn't the time to start pushing. We've got to stop. You're the one who's got to stop. Me? Me? Are we in this together or what? I don't know, are we? I'm the one who got us here. You're the one holding me back. I'm holding you back. I'm just trying to look out for us. Not like you. You just want to ditch me. Or maybe I should get rid of you. Stop running. No. Yes. 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 No. Stop. You can't go. Please. I'm done with you.
And the hero in you prevails.
Now what happens here is that Nike could have said, our shoes are the hero. Our shoes are going to make you run better. They didn't. They looked at the audience and understood that they're fighting themselves. So they are the heroes, and the shoes, the Nike shoes, are actually just helping the hero go through that journey and be better. And that's very important to keep in mind. When you're writing a story, you are not the hero. You're Yoda. You're the guy who helps the hero or the girl. You are not going to be in the forefront saying, we're the best. Stop doing that and start using something else as a hero and be the Yoda. Now finally there's the story. That's where you bring it all together. Now creating a story about your business can be really difficult. So you need to look at your past and you need to look at how you started your business and your why. The why is still one of the most important elements of anything in marketing, and especially in storytelling. You have to understand your own why. Now let me tell you the story of a business, of how a business started. There was a guy in the United States who had a garage sale. And in this garage sale, he sold all of his personal stuff. And one of the things that he sold was a painting that he created himself. And it was 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and the guy was like already cleaning up a bit. And this one guy shows up, and the one guy starts looking at things and sees the painting and says, "Oh, I like that painting. I want to buy that painting." He says, "Sure," and starts talking to the guy about the painting, and the guy starts asking questions about the painting. And they kind of hit it off, the two guys. They have fun. And an hour goes past, and another hour goes past, and they keep talking. And at one point they said, let's go to the pub, because there's a pub down the road. So they went to that bar, had a few drinks, and after a few hours, the guy from the garage sale says to the other guy, so what's your story? Turns out the guy was on his way to join a refugee army somewhere in Africa to help out, to volunteer. And I said, wow, that's amazing. So when are you going there? Oh, I'm actually leaving tomorrow. I said, wow, okay. So where are you actually staying tonight then? He says, I don't know. I don't have a place to stay yet. And the guy from the garage sale hears himself say, like, oh, but you can crash on in my living room. I've got an airbag, and you sleep there. And the minute he says that, he goes like, in his mind, like, what the hell am I doing? This is a complete stranger. I'm asking him into my house to sleep in my living room. I might wake up tomorrow morning dead. So I might not wake up tomorrow morning. Why am I doing this? So he struggles the entire night, doesn't sleep very well, but wakes up and the guy's just there, and then he leaves and nothing actually happens. He's like, oh, it wasn't too bad actually having a stranger in my house. And then a year goes by, and after a year, the guy has some money problems, doesn't have enough money, and he sees there's a conference in town. And he calls a buddy of his, and he says, you know what? Remember the guy I had over last year and who slept in my living room? I think we can make money from that with this conference. You've got a couple of airbeds, right? Yeah, I got a couple of airbeds. Why don't we rent out our rooms to people going to that conference? Yeah, sure. So they put an ad on, and they had a few people go over, and they made a lot of money. That's how Airbnb started. That's the story of Airbnb. And it's a story. It's not just we think we can make money from getting people to sleep in our living rooms and still be alive the next morning. It's an actual story that shows the problem that they have, that shows the problem that people have because they don't have a place to stay, and the solution in it. So it's a perfect example of a great storytelling about a business. And if you want to look it up, this is one of the founders of Airbnb. He does a TED Talk on this. It's amazing. So what you have to think about is that a story doesn't have to be about you. And sometimes, and that's what I'm going to close with, you get lucky. That's what happened to Microsoft. Microsoft got lucky. Well, maybe a little bit. What Microsoft was doing research online. And they did a lot of research because they wanted to think about a great story and an ad for the Xbox. And then they found a video. And then they found the comments below that video. So it's not just about what you find, it's what you find underneath. And with that, what they found in the comments, they created this video.
Well, when I was 4, my dad bought a trusty Xbox. You know, the first ruggedy, blocky one from 2001. We had tons and tons and tons of fun playing all kinds of games together, until he died when I was just 6. I couldn't touch that console for 10 years. But once I did, I noticed something. We used to play a racing game, Rally Sports Challenge. Actually pretty awesome for the time it came. And once I started meddling around, I found a ghost, literally. You know when a time race happens, that the fastest lap so far gets recorded as a ghost driver? Yep, you guessed it, his ghost still rolls around that track today. And so I played and played and played until I was almost able to beat the ghost, until one day I got ahead of it, I surpassed it, and I stopped right in front of the finish line. Just to ensure I wouldn't delete it. Bliss.
Microsoft got lucky finding those comments, but they made an effort finding the comments. They made an effort to do real research and understand what their audience wanted and what their audience was thinking. And they created a story which didn't highlight them. Because the Xbox in this case was the vehicle, it was the help, it was the Yoda. And the hero was the boy. So when you're creating that story, make people recognize what they see and stay away from being the hero yourself. And to summarize everything, these takeaways, you want to create a story for your audience. And if you help your audience get better, if you take your audience through that journey, it will be a story that sticks, and you will keep that attention from the audience. Thank you very much.
Right. Any questions out there?